Hello, everyone. This is GoShocks here. As you probably know, the Best Game Ever 20th anniversary is starting on November 5th, which is about 4 days from the time of this recording. And there's been quite a bit of controversy as everybody's making their picks. There's a ton of legitimate candidates to win the entire thing. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a little show to discuss our picks with a couple friends. And we have a pretty diverse kind of experience in our gaming histories. So starting with myself, I'm Shox. I'm 24 years old. My first console was Super Nintendo, and my favorite game ever is probably Donkey Kong Country 2. If you want to get an idea of what kind of games I play, so I'm gonna hand it over to Dabu, who is also picking, and let him talk about himself a bit.
Hello, GameFAQS community. I'm Lord of Dabu. Um, I have a lot of credentials when it comes to making these predictions. I was in first place in the leaderboard in the 2004 games contest up until the final day of the match. I also correctly predicted Majora Mask Run in the Game of the Decade competition. I have a long history of successfully picking brackets. I'm also a hardcore gamer. Uh, that's pretty much it. There's no reason to doubt my pick, so whatever these other two guys say, it's probably not correct, so you should just listen.
So that's a little bit about Dabu. I will note that 2004 was 11 years ago, so it's been 11 years since new games have come out. So we'll see if that helps or hurts him. And our last panelist is Sonic. If you want to talk about yourself a bit.
Hello, everyone. Name's Sonic. 29 years old. Probably my favorite game of all time is Contra. And the reason why I say Contra as opposed to all the other games out is because it was, aside from Bird on Atari, it was my first Nintendo game I ever played. And I remember it vividly because it was the first console my mother brought in. And it was the first game I spent literally 300 hours on. So the competition that we're actually going about it, the reason why my analysis would be a little more accurate than Dabu and Shox is that it's completely unbiased. I can set aside my own personal feelings on certain types of games because I know that essentially as a whole they're not going to, progress or not progress. And that's it.
Did you ever beat Contra without the 30 lives code?
Yes, I have.
All right, if that gives him a little more respect, then use that as you will. So the format we're using here, there's three of us, so we're gonna go match by match, and we're gonna discuss each matchup, and the game that gets the most votes between the three of us will move on. So we have our own little bracket here, and we're gonna go division by division, and we're gonna do a little bit of commentary. So if you're undecided about what games you have going far and which upsets you foresee, just listen to us, and maybe it'll influence your picks a little bit. So without further ado, we're gonna start with Division One, and our first matchup here is Chrono Trigger, the one seed, versus Ratchet and Clank 3. Dabu, who do you have winning that?
Can we not waste our time with this match and just move on? Obviously, Chrono Trigger's going to win. That's all we got.
I share Dabu's opinion. However, I do want to make a note that the seeding should not matter. It don't need, like, imagine the seeding is not even there because the seeding will not matter in a lot of these choices. So Chrono Trigger will definitely beat Ratchet and Clank.
Okay, I also have Chrono Trigger winning. I think that's a pretty easy pick. So moving on to Dragon Quest 8 versus Persona 3. I personally do not know much about these games, so I'm gonna go with the higher seed because seeding matters. So I'm gonna go with Dragon Quest. What about you, Sonic? Who do you have winning?
I actually, on first glance, it seems like a pretty fair fight, but ultimately Dragon Quest will win because Persona 3 already has the stigma of being considered a J-pop or a RPG, a JRPG. Um, and that right there already creates a niche market in that regard. So Dragon Quest is a little more widely known, so it will definitely win.
I also think Dragon Quest 8 is going to take this, but I actually think it's going to be a pretty close match. I think Persona fans are a lot more dedicated, than the Dragon Quest fans. So they'll probably cheat and vote like 10 times each.
Okay, so we got Dragon Quest VIII moving on. Next matchup, Mega Man X versus Batman Arkham City. Two pretty big franchises right there. Who do you have winning, Sonic?
The seeding, like I mentioned earlier, this is the first instance where seeding literally doesn't matter. You should just throw that out of your mind. Mega Man X will beat Batman Arkham City simply because of the lineage of Mega Man X and the fact that Mega Man X was one of the better X titles in the whole series.
I was a little surprised to see that this is the only Mega Man game in the entire bracket. But it's a very solid title. And even though Batman has done well on like the Game of the Year polls in GameFAQs, I think it's not in the same tier as Mega Man X. I think Mega Man X is going to win this pretty decisively.
Isn't this the only Batman game too? Is the original Batman on the NES in here?
No.
I mean, those Batmans were dog shit.
Batman on the NES wasn't bad.
Pardon my friend.
But anyway, I also have Mega Man X.
Shucks, you
winning.
weren't even good enough to finish that game. Sonic and I were the only ones good enough to finish.
I also have Mega Man X
I'll remind
winning. For those of you who are college basketball fans, the 5-12 matchup is generally the one that produces the most upsets. So I'm going to go with Mega Man X as well, because seeding is pretty important here. And we're going to move on to another matchup between two really big franchises. We have Final Fantasy X from the RPG genre and the Half-Life from the FPS genre. So Dabu, what do you think?
I think Final Fantasy X is going to win this in a landslide. On any other website, it would be different, but on GameFAQs, Final Fantasy is like their home turf. I think Final Fantasy will win this very easily.
I actually will argue that Half-Life will win it pretty decisively. I understand Final Fantasy X is actually a popular title on GameFAQs. However, Half-Life, the lineage behind it, and the nostalgia behind it produces a lot more turnout for that title. And not only about that fact, I mean, you have all these nerds crying about Half-Life 3. It's just going to pass up Final Fantasy X.
I also have Half-Life
Don't
winning.
forget the meme of Gordon Freeman never wins on the GameFAQs site. It's a popular meme.
Well, traditions are meant to be broken. I also have Half-Life winning. I think it upsets Final Fantasy X, and I think we have a matchup between the 12 seed and the 13 seed in that second round. So moving on to the next match, we have Smash Brothers Melee against Portal. Personally, I think those are both great games. I'm gonna have to go with Smash Brothers Melee, Super Smash Brothers Melee, because the competitive scene is still going. I mean, the game's been out for, I don't know, 12, 13 years now, and it's still, it's probably as big as it's ever been. And while Portal's a great game, I think Melee will end up being superior, especially since it's a Nintendo game. What do you think, Sonic?
I think Smash Brothers Melee is going to win by a landslide, simply because it's so mechanically impressive to watch Smash Melee players, that especially at the high competitive scene, than it is watching any competent Portal player. But as a game overall, Smash Brothers Melee just excels.
I also agree with Sonic. Smash Brothers is going to win this pretty decisively. I think Portal got wasted a little bit here in its placement in the bracket. I think it could have done well in other places, but not.
Yeah, and with any tournament, you're going to see things like that where somebody or some game will have an unfair matchup and get put in a pretty tough spot. I do agree that Portal was put in that predicament. So next we have Pokemon Gold, Silver / Crystal versus World Ends with You. Sonic, who do you think's going to win that?
Okay, so World Ends with You has two things that actually go against it. One, it's a Japanese title. The other one is that it's a Nintendo DS title. And the fact that both of those combined create such a niche group of people that actually would play it or have even heard of it, will guarantee that it's not going to go anywhere. So Pokemon Gold and Silver will win by a landslide.
Pokemon just has the name recognition behind it. I mean, I don't know how popular World Ends With You actually is. I've never played it myself. I've heard good things about it, but I've also heard a lot of bad things about it. And I just don't think it's going to be able to compete with a Pokemon type.
I've heard nothing about it. If that helps you with your decision.
So I also know nothing about World Ends With You, but I do know, as a Pokemon fan, Pokemon Gold Silver / Crystal is, for any Pokemon fan, it's pretty easily the best generation out of all of them. I still remember the night that I got Pokemon Gold. I went to a Toys R Us with my family, and I played it in the car. So I think that one's going to be pretty easily won by Pokemon Gold / Silver. Next we have Metal Gear Solid 4 versus Kingdom Hearts 2. I haven't played either of these games too much, so I can't say I know a lot about them. I'm going to go with Metal Gear Solid 4 since it's the higher seed. What do you think, Dabu?
I think this is actually going to be a lot closer than it looks. I actually went back and forth on this one a little bit while I was making the bracket. I picked Metal Gear Solid 4, but I'm really 50-50 on it. I think Kingdom Hearts 2 could make a strong case for it. But my final instinct was to take Metal Gear Solid 4, but I don't have a strong reason for picking
it. My opinion is that Kingdom Hearts 2 is actually going to win, 65 to 35%. The reason being is Metal Gear Solid 4, especially, was not really known to be one of the better Metal Gear Solid 4s. It was very extended, too many cutscenes that disrupted gameplay. Personally, it did not stand out for me as one of the better Metal Gear Solids compared to Kingdom Hearts 2, which is easily remembered. So Kingdom Hearts 2 will win 65 to 35%.
Personally, I think from the casual gamer perspective, Metal Gear Solid will win just by name recognition. So since it's 2-1 votes, we're going to go with Metal Gear Solid 4. And last in this first round matchups for Division 1, we have The Last of Us versus Halo 3. What do you think, Sonic?
So Halo 3, no one will tell you good things about Halo 3. So Last of Us will definitely win.
I agree. Pretty much. Last of Us is going to win this one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Halo.
Looking...
Not that you exist on GameFAQS.
I think Halo 2 would have a good chance, but Halo 3 probably not. Looking at the people that are voting here, they're probably more newer gamers, more younger gamers that have probably played The Last of Us, and The Last of Us is a great game, so I'm going to go with that too. So we're going
The
back
average age of the GameFAQs user is 25.
So going back to the top of the division, we're going to have Chrono Trigger versus Dragon Quest VIII. I think Chrono Trigger is going to win in a landslide. Chrono Trigger is just, it's that good of a game, and it's loved that much on this site. What do you think, Dabu?
I think after this match, when they see the percentage that Chrono Trigger is going to put on either Dragon Quest or Persona, whichever one it is, people are going to be thinking about Chrono Trigger is going to make its way to the Final Four. Probably. It's going to look really impressive in this match, just because it's going to be so one-sided, and I think RPG fans will pick the better.
So the voting for this is going to be very one-sided. Not only is Chrono Trigger a better game, it's also a more widely known game. I'm going to actually predict a 92% to 8% victory over Dragon Quest.
So Chrono Trigger is going to move on. Now we're going to look at the 12 and the 13 seed meeting up in the second round, which is Mega Man X versus Half-Life. What do you think, Sonic?
So, since I voted for Half-Life on the first round, Half-Life taking on Mega Man X. Now, this one's a hard title to actually pick because you have to take into account the average GameFAQs user and their mentality approaching these two titles. But I still am going with the fact that nostalgia and the fact that Half-Life has such a prestige, remembering, is that it'll still beat Mega Man X.
Dabu, what do you think?
Well, in my bracket, I have Mega Man X beating Final Fantasy X. So, I mean, if that's how I don't know. I just don't think Half-Life is going to be very popular with it. So, yeah, I mean, even if assuming we have Half-Life here, I still think Mega Man X would best.
Well,
I just think Nintendo games in general are much more popular than PC games in GameFAQs. I mean, even though Mega Man X is Capcom, I think it's associated with Nintendo, and I just think it's going to be much more popular.
I think
Why is it associated as Nintendo?
I'm not sure,
Continue.
but
Continue. Tom is frozen.
I think this is the time where Gordon Freeman does make his run in the tournament, and I think Half-Life will beat Mega Man
You
X.
guys are so delusional. This is so ridiculous.
Half-Life will
I can't
defeat-
even associate my name with this discussion anymore. This is so ridiculous.
Half-Life
is not going to get.
Half-Life will defeat Mega Man X and move on to the Sweet 16. Or move on to the third round of their match of their division. Moving on.
If you guys say Half-Life's beating Chrono Trigger, I'm just going to sign off.
This discussion's over. Moving on to the next match after Half-Life wins. We have Super Smash Bros. Melee against Pokemon Gold Silver. Pokemon Gold Silver is by far the greatest generation for Pokemon, but Super Smash Bros. Melee is that good of a game. They both came out at around the same time, I think. I think Gold Silver was a few years later, and they both stood the test of time, but I think Melee will win this one. What do you guys think? What about you, Dabu?
I think Melee is a top 10 game as far as this bracket's concerned. I think it'll easily dispatch with Pokemon.
Yeah, Melee will not lose to Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Alright.
It's as simple as that.
So moving on to the last one, Metal Gear Solid 4 versus The Last of Us. I'm pretty sure I know how this will go. I'll start with you, Sonic.
So for my bracket, it's actually The Last of Us versus Kingdom Hearts 2. But since we went with Metal Gear Solid 4 advancing, I'm going to choose The Last of Us beating Metal Gear Solid 4. Because I still do not feel Metal Gear Solid 4 is as widely liked as you guys think it will, or it is.
I mean, didn't a lot of people get a PS2 PS3 just for Metal Gear Solid?
Yes, but you fail to realize how many people were turned off immediately from word of mouth of how bad it was. It was pretty big. I mean, the title was not as widely liked as you think it was.
I may be mistaken in this match, but I think between Metal Gear Solid 4 and Last of Us, I think Metal Gear Solid 4.
So we have
Just because it has the Metal Gear Solid name. Metal Gear Solid 5 just came out. It's got people thinking about the series. I just think Metal Gear Solid 4 is going to win this one.
So we have one.
I don't think it'll be like a huge victory, though, but it'll be like...
I have faith that the majority of the people that will vote for this will have either played 4 or Last of Us, because then they could make a good decision.
So we have one vote for Metal Gear Solid 4 and one for The Last of Us. Looking at the two games, Metal Gear Solid 4 isn't considered anything exceptional, while The Last of Us is considered easily one of the best games out on the PS4. So I'm going to go with The Last of Us, move that on to the next round. And now we have Chrono Trigger versus Half-Life. While I would love to vote for Half-Life, I think its run ends here. Half-Life I think it got a little bit of a bad matchup here. I don't know what games are really going to beat Chrono Trigger, so I have Chrono Trigger moving on. What about you, Sonic?
I also have Chrono Trigger beating Half-Life. However, just to have Dabu sign off, I was going to say Half-Life would beat it. But even I can't say that. So Chrono Trigger will definitely beat Half-Life. Half-Life, even if it moved on, it wouldn't really move to the final of any one of these divisions, in my opinion. Half-Life is just one of those titles that it had a good battle early on in the first two matches, but it ultimately would never get to the final of any division.
So I'm gonna vote for Half-Life. I'm just kidding. Let's move on. Chrono Trigger wins.
And that takes us to Smash Brothers Melee versus The Last of Us. Dabu, what are your thoughts on that?
Melee. It's just, as I said before, Melee is a top 10 game. Last of Us may have a good reputation on the PS4, but it's no Melee. It's no Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Is just a huge series. It's got a huge following, a huge scene. I think it'll win pretty easily.
Just as Davi said, Melee is a huge name title. A lot of their tournaments are crowd-funded. They have like the voice behind their title, so it's easily going to beat any one of these games in most instances. So it will beat The Last of Us.
Both are great games. Every lovable Nintendo character you've ever wanted, Mario, Yoshi, Star Fox, they're all in Melee. Last of Us is a great game, but it's not Melee. So I agree, Melee is moving on. Takes us to Chrono Trigger versus Melee. Sonic, what are your thoughts?
So Chrono Trigger is going to win, but it's not going to be a landslide. It will definitely probably be somewhere in the range of 80 to 20. But so Melee did put up a good fight, but it just was like already in a losing division. It could not beat Chrono Trigger.
I think Chrono Trigger is a very strong game on this website. It's also just a very good game in general. If you haven't played it, you should. I think Chrono Trigger is going to win. It'll be pretty close, but Chrono Trigger should be able to edge out them.
I would like to reiterate Dabu's thoughts. If you haven't played Chrono Trigger, you should. It's a really good game, and I'm going to go with Chrono Trigger as well. So that takes care of Division 1. Chrono Trigger is moving on. If we had a sponsor right now, we'd run some commercials. We don't, but if you want to sponsor us...
Were you born for Chrono Trigger shots?
If you want to sponsor us, please do. Moving on to Division 2. We're going to start off with Final Fantasy...
Take that as a bet.
We're going to start off with Final Fantasy VI versus Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed... They're all right, but I think Final Fantasy VI wins easily. Sonic, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with your first train of thought. Assassin crap will not beat Final Fantasy VI. Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood was probably the best Assassin's Creed, but 2 was not very good. Nor is it actually known to be popular with the players. So Final Fantasy VI will win.
Alright, let's...
What?
Appreciate your insight, Dabu.
Did he say Final Fantasy
Very,
VI?
very... No, he just said let's move on.
Okay. Well, I think Final Fantasy VI is going to win. Which it
Yeah,
will
Final
win.
Fantasy VI is clear winner here.
So,
It's not even going to be close.
moving on to a more interesting matchup. Paper Mario A Thousand Year Door versus Tales of Symphonia. This is a tough one. I have Paper Mario winning, just because it's Mario and it's a great game. What do you think, Dabu?
Well, I mean, Tales of Symphonia came out at a time when it was like pretty much the only RPG game on the GameCube, so it has like this pretty strong following. I just don't think it's quite on the level of a Paper Mario game. I think Mario's name helps a lot, and I think it'll slightly edge out Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah, just like Dabu said, it was one of the only RPGs, and it was actually known to be one of the better Tales titles that's ever come out so far. However, its name doesn't reach as far as Paper Mario Thousand Year Door does. And the following behind Paper Mario is just so much more robust. So I'm gonna vote for Paper Mario.
That takes us to Star Wars versus Xenogears. What do you think, Sonic?
So KOTOR is actually an amazing game. However, Xenogears has such a lineage and cult following that it's going to beat out many titles in this division. So I vote for Xenogears.
I also vote for Xenogears. It's just a PlayStation RPG, and those are really popular in GameFAQs. And Xenogears happens to be one of the really popular ones, so I think it'll do really well.
I think Star Wars, being, as far as I remember, the only Star Wars game here, wins out. But my vote, it's already 2-0, so my vote doesn't matter. So Xenogears moves on. And we hit our first Zelda game with the Wind Waker versus the second Pokemon game, Pokemon X and Y. I think this one will pretty easily be won by Wind Waker. Some people consider it the best Zelda, some people don't consider it the best Zelda, but it's a good Zelda game. It is a Zelda
You
game.
literally spend half the game sailing.
That's the best part about it.
It's a good Zelda.
It's the peace, calming sea.
It's a great Zelda game. Pokemon XY is so new. Well, I don't even know how new it is, but it's not one of the good Pokemons, so I think Wind Waker moves on. What do you think about that, Sonic?
So Pokemon XY, I remember playing it. I remember watching a lot of speedruns on it. I don't remember a single thing about it. So that just goes to show you just how much faith I have behind Pokemon X and Y. Zelda Wind Waker is going to win by a landslide.
It's gonna sail its way to victory. Yeah, Wind Waker wins pretty easy.
And we have the newest Smash Brothers Wii U versus Planescape Torment. Dobby, what are your thoughts?
I think Planescape Torment is a good game, but Smash Brothers just has the name behind it. It's sort of following Melee's legacy, and somehow Brawl didn't make in the bracket somehow. But anyway, Smash Brothers I think will win.
Brawl probably got tripped up before it could be added to the bracket. But yeah, Smash Brothers Wii U has the name brand, and it's clearly going to beat Planescape Torment, which was average at best.
I agree. Smash Brothers wins pretty easily, and we move on to Super Mario Galaxy 2 versus Mass Effect. I think this is a very interesting matchup. What do you think, Sonic?
So Super Mario Galaxy 2 is actually known to be the better Super Mario and probably one of the best Super Mario of all time. And Mass Effect 1 is considered by almost 95% of the Mass Effect community to be the best Mass Effect title out. However, just the name brand behind Mario Galaxy will have it winning.
I agree with Sonic. I think while these are both titles that are held in high regard, I think Galaxy just sort of, first of all, it's a Mario game, and then it has a reputation for being a really good Mario game. And I think that should take it over Mass Effect.
Personally, I think Mass Effect pulls off the upset, but we do have the majority voting for Mario Galaxy, so we're gonna go with that.
How can you take
Say
this
that
guy
with a
serious?
straight face? Like, when I heard that, I was floored.
So we're gonna move on to Minecraft.
Legitimately floored.
We're gonna move on to Minecraft and Halo Combat Evolved. Another pretty interesting matchup, especially because Minecraft is loved by many and also hated by many. I'm gonna go with Minecraft. I think it wins here and moves on to the next round. What do you think, Dabu?
I'm really torn on this one. Minecraft has this huge following, but I think the demographic that follows Minecraft is not the GameFAQs demographic. But still, Halo's sort of also not in the GameFAQs demographic, so I feel like Minecraft is just going to barely edge out Halo. But I don't know. I feel like it's a 50-50 match. I think you can make a solid argument either.
And it's important.
Unlike the previous match.
It's important to look at these and remember that people will vote for the game they like, but in some matchups they'll also vote against the game that they hate. So while I do think Minecraft will edge it out, I could see people voting against it just because it's Minecraft. So that's 2 votes for Minecraft. What do you think, Sonic?
Minecraft's gonna win hands down. The reason being is you don't need to know anything about Minecraft. All you need to know is that Halo Combat Evolved was garbage. And if you don't know it was garbage, then you don't even know what it is. Because because you haven't played it. So Minecraft's gonna win just by the names.
So that's Minecraft moving on. Okay, any objections to Final Fantasy VII beating Journey? Does anybody
No,
disagree?
next match. Next match.
Sonic, any objection?
Wow, I was very emotional about this decision in terms of Journey, but Final Fantasy VII is gonna win hands down.
If you are watching this and you take one thing away from this, just make sure you vote for Final Fantasy VII against Journey, because there's no chance it loses. So, looking back at the top, we have Final Fantasy VII against Final Fantasy VI against Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door. Very interesting matchup. What do you think, Sonic?
First of all, are we talking about the American, the English Final Fantasy VI, or the? Are we talking about 3?
There is no. Yeah, we're talking about 3.
Okay. So Final Fantasy 3 will actually.
There is no American Final Fantasy.
Paper. It's the Japanese.
You just lost all your credibility with that statement.
Final Fantasy 3 is going to win Paper Mario, hands down. It was a joke, though.
I think my vote should count for 3 votes, and each of yours should count for 1. So you guys don't know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah. Final Fantasy 6 wins this very easy.
I agree. Final Fantasy VI wins. 2 very good games. The Mario vote is certainly going to be there, but so is the Final Fantasy vote. So we have 6 moving on. Next round, the 12 seed Xenogears against Wind Waker. Both good games, but I think Wind Waker will prove to be superior in this poll. What do you think, Dalu?
I think Zelda games are just going to be really popular games in general. I think more than any other series on this website. I think Zelda's going to be more popular than Mario, than Final Fantasy, and especially Xenogears. I mean, yeah, Wind Waker gets some hate for the whole sailing and the cell shading thing, but I think people have long gotten over it, and I think Xenogears just isn't in the same tier as Wind Waker.
So, I actually picked Xenogears as beating Wind Waker. The reason being is that Xenogears is still held to be one of the better titles, and Wind Waker is not held to be one of the better titles. But since it's 2-1, we'll move on with Wind Waker.
Yeah, Wind Waker's going to move on. Takes us to Smash Brothers, the Wii U version, versus Super Mario Galaxy 2. 2 Nintendo titles going up against each other. What do you think, Sonic?
I think Smash Brothers Wii U will not beat Mario Galaxy 2, simply because Mario Galaxy 2, the majority of the people who actually played it can agree that it was really good. While Smash Brothers Wii U, the majority of the people that played it do like it, but there's a lot of faults that come from just it being like a sequel. While Mario Galaxy 2 is considered probably the better sequel than the original one, Smash Brothers Wii U is not considered the better sequel.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Sonic, and I kind of don't. I don't know. This is a tough one for me. So I have Smash Brothers in my bracket. But that was more of like a coin flip pick. I think Smash Brothers, just the franchise, is a little bit more popular than just the overall Mario franchise right now in terms of the Wii games. So I think any of the Smash Brothers games will beat any of the Mario games in the Wii or the Wii. And I think that includes Smash Brothers.
So you have Wii U moving on?
I do.
Okay, that's 1 vote for each. I am going to go with Smash Brothers Wii U as well. They're both great games, but I think Wii U has the newness factor. It was released like, a year ago. And I think more people have played it like recently. So the Smash Brothers games are probably going to hold the edge over the Galaxy games in terms of name, like Dabu said. So I have Smash Brothers moving on. And lastly, Minecraft versus Final Fantasy VII. Do we want to waste our time on this one?
No.
No,
Final
no.
Fantasy X wins.
Yeah. Yeah, Final Fantasy 7 wins.
Okay, yeah, Final Fantasy moves on. So Final Fantasy 6 versus Wind Waker. I think Final Fantasy 6 wins this pretty easily, but that's just me. What do you think, Sonic?
He is Xenogear.
This is a hard one. Um, but since Wind Waker actually moved on, according to our bracket, I think Final Fantasy VI will definitely move on. It's just a lot better title. The title is just much better than its competition. It's going to flat out win.
I also think Final Fantasy 6 would win here against either Wind Waker or Xenogears. I mean, if Xenogears were the one to move on, I think Final Fantasy 6 is just held in higher regard in terms of RPG. Yeah, in terms of RPG fans, I think they would prefer Final Fantasy 6 or Xenogears. I just think it's more popular. And against Wind Waker, I mean, they're two very different type of games, but I think Final Fantasy 6 is more of a classic, and Wind Waker does. I mean, it has its fans, but it has its anti-fans. And while Final Fantasy 6 is mostly just held in high regard, and I think it will sort of slip by Wind Waker or
Yeah,
Xenogears if it happens to be doing it.
I don't remember if I said it, but I think Final Fantasy 6 will move on as well. Pretty in a landslide, I think. And takes us down to Final Fantasy 7 versus Smash Bros. Wii U. Anybody think 7 loses this?
I mean, regardless of whether it's Galaxy or Smash Bros. Wii U, I think Final Fantasy 7 is going to win this time.
Yeah, this division was decided before, just like the previous division. Final Fantasy 7.
I also have 7, so that takes us to the Final Fantasy matchup 6 versus 7. Dabu, we'll start with you.
So I know there was a poll on GameFAQS recently with Final Fantasy 6 and Final Fantasy 7. And Final Fantasy 6 won, but I think that was just a fluke. And I think in a contest setting where where the traffic's actually going to be drawn to the site, I think Final Fantasy 7 won.
Not only traffic, but those same voters will also try to take into account what the majority of the users will vote. And the majority of the users, it's already understood that would vote for 7.
Both great games. I have 6 upsetting 7 in my bracket, but majority rules here, so we're going to go with 7. And that takes
God, I understand what Sonic was talking about.
that wraps up Division 2. We're going to go down to Division 3. We're going to start with Mario Brothers 3 versus Age of Empires 2. I think this result's already predetermined.
Okay, no, we're going to start with Pokemon versus Tetris.
I think this result's already predetermined. Age of Empires 2 is actually a really good RTS, but it's not beating Super Mario Bros. 3. Anybody disagree?
Age of Empires 2 is not going to beat Halo Combat Evolved if it had a challenge. But I agree that Super Mario Bros. 3 is going to win by a 98% landslide.
Now there is a real-time strategy game in this tournament that is going to go far, but we're going to talk about that later. So Pokemon Red Blue versus Tetris. This is a hard one because Tetris is freaking like Tetris, right? But Pokemon Red Blue is, it's a classic as well. I think Pokemon Red Blue wins, which I consider that an upset. What do you think, Dalu?
I think Pokemon wins here. I was reading through the GameFAQS boards. Apparently, people have Pokemon Red Blue going all the way to the finals, which shocked me. I don't think it's going to beat Mario 3. It should be able to beat Tetris pretty easily. I mean, Tetris, everybody knows Tetris, but I don't think that just knowing it is going to cause people to vote for it. I feel like Tetris is just not a game you vote for.
Yeah, so if this competition was simply pick for the most popular game, or what do you think, the majority of the people know about? Well, Tetris might win, but in this context, taking into account the user base and just like the lineage behind it, Pokemon Red Blue is going to beat Tetris by a pretty close margin at least.
So Dabu, you remember the character battle where the L Block won it? Do you think anything similar can happen here?
No. That was funny, haha. So L Block character beating it. You can't make the same argument for Tetris.
Okay. Okay. Whatever. Moving on to Portal 2 versus Sonic the Hedgehog 2. What do you think, Sonic? No pun intended.
Was that a pop? I don't think that was.
I don't know.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out where the button was. But moving on, Portal 2 is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Simply because Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has a name behind it, but out of the first Sonic, it doesn't really stand out more so. It's a pretty it's a pretty disappointing sequel to Sonic 1, but Portal 2 was definitely a superior sequel, so I think Portal 2 will move up.
I feel like Sonic used to be a really popular series, but they've released so many bad games that I think the entire reputation of the Sonic character has just been damaged. You should honestly just adopt a new common nickname, because Sonic has just fallen so far. I think Portal 2 will win pretty easily.
I think Portal 2 is really understated at the 5 seed. I think it could be easily top 4, top 3 seeds, so I'll go with Portal 2 as well. Moves us on to Uncharted 2 versus The Walking Dead.
I mean, Portal 1 is also underseeded as a 14 seed. I mean,
Yeah, they both kind of got jobbed there. Uncharted 2 versus The Walking Dead. I have Uncharted 2 winning. What do you think, Dobby?
I also have Uncharted 2, but I don't really have like I don't know. I don't really know enough about either of these games. I've heard more about Uncharted 2, so I feel like it's probably going to be the one. But I actually haven't played either.
So I played both. Uncharted 2 is the best Uncharted out of the trilogy. But Walking Dead is just a Telltale game. Like, if we're talking about the Telltale game, because there was another Walking Dead game that was really, really bad. So I can't imagine that's the title that's in this vote. But either way, it's not as popular as Uncharted 2.
Fallout 3 versus Life is Strange. I have Fallout 3 winning this pretty easily. Any objections
I
to
also
that?
have Fallout 3. I think
If I had
Life
to
is Strange
choose,
is
I would
even
choose
popular,
Life is
right?
Strange. But Fallout 3 is going to flat out.
Is Life is Strange good? I've never played it.
I played all 6. It starts out really teeny, the first episode. However, it starts to get pretty good from the second on.
They're not bad games. They're just not going to compare to Fallout. They're not going to beat Fallout, I guess is what I'm saying. Fallout has too much name recognition. Undertale versus Mass Effect 3. Sonic, what do you think?
Um, so Undertale is actually a really good RPG, and it's a recent RPG. However, that also makes it that also like plays against it, right? It's so recent that not that many people has heard about it. However, people have heard about Mass Effect 3, even if it was garbage. Um, People heard more about Mass Effect 3 than they would Undertale, so I would vote Mass Effect 3.
I also think Mass Effect 3 will win just because people know what it is. I honestly didn't even know what Undertale was until I had to Google it and install this bad. I'd never heard of it. But from what I understand,
It's because it
just
came
really
out
good.
like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Really recent title.
Yeah,
And I know people hate Mass Effect 3, but I think they will still vote for a game they know over one they don't. I mean, maybe not. Maybe they just won't vote at all, and the only people who vote are Undertale people, and it wins 100%. I wouldn't count.
too old to know these new games. I have Mass Effect 3 winning as well. I have Mass Effect pulling off an upset earlier in the competition, so I think 3 will also win. Takes us to an intriguing matchup: Vice City versus Final Fantasy 8. Dabu, what do you think?
I think Grand Theft Auto has always done really poorly on this website, and Final Fantasy is king on this website, pretty much behind Zelda. It's the second most popular series on the website. I think Final Fantasy VIII will win extremely easily.
agree with Dabu when I say Final Fantasy VIII is going to beat Vice City. Vice City was a great game, however, it can't compete with 8.
I actually think Vice City is going to pull off the upset here. Vice City is probably one of the most revolutionary GTA games out there, and it's sad that it gets so much
It wasn't
disrespect.
revolutionary.
It's sad that it gets so much
It
disrespect.
wasn't revolutionary at all.
But
It was not revolutionary.
you haven't even played it. How do you know it's not revolutionary?
I played it.
Name the main character of Vice City.
Versetti.
What's his first name?
Tommy.
What's the black guy's name? It rhymes. What's his name?
What?
I'm talking to Dalvin, not you. Fine, we'll go on Final Fantasy VIII. Okay, are we really gonna pick Animal Crossing New Leaf over arguably the best 2D
No, we're
Mario
not.
game?
Okay. Okay, let's talk about Mario 3 vs. Pokemon.
Sonic, any objections to this?
I have no objections.
Okay.
Super Mario World will win in 100% landslide.
Nobody's gonna vote for Animal Crossing?
Not a single person.
Like 5 people are gonna vote for it.
Alright, Mario Brothers
Maybe like
3.
Delusional people that added it to this division.
Mario Brothers 3 versus Pokemon Red Blue. Okay, this is gonna be a really good matchup. 2 Nintendo games. Personally, I think 3 is the best 2D Mario game. World's obviously good, but I think 3 is superior. Pokemon Red and Blue are classics, but I think 3 will win. What do you think, Sonic?
I think Red and Blue holds a really a large spot in a lot of people's heart, but Mario 3 is just well known. Hell, it had a movie behind it, The Wizard, created just to introduce that title. So I feel Mario 3 will definitely beat Pokemon Red and Blue.
You know the Wizard sucked, right?
I mean, you've never even watched
Nope.
The Wizard, first of all.
You
It
haven't
was a
watched
really good
right?
movie. You've never watched The Wizard.
Dabu, your thoughts?
How could you argue?
So, I also think Mario 3 is gonna win this. I think it'll probably be kind of close, but I think Mario 3 is just... It's widely regarded as a really good game. Like, you can't really think of many flaws when you think of Mario 3. Even it's held up incredibly well. It's, for a long time, it was the best-selling game of all time that was not packaged with a console. I think that's been surpassed recently, but it took a long time for that record to be broken. Everybody's played it. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves to fly in the sky with a raccoon tail. Pokemon, I don't know. It's just not in the same level, in my opinion.
I actually think Pokemon is in the same level, but 3 is just also really good and has the name. But moving on, Portal 2 versus Uncharted 2, the Battle of the Twos. What do you think, Dabu?
I think Portal 2 is just a bit... Maybe it's not more popular, but I think it's just more well-liked with the GameFAQS community. It's got puzzle solving, it's got the co-op, and I don't know, I just have Portal 2 advancing here. I think it's going to be much more appreciated than Uncharted 2.
Portal 2 is going to beat Uncharted 2. Even though Uncharted 2 was the best Uncharted out of the trilogy, Portal 2 is just widely regarded as being a very good game, especially a very good co-op game. And they're essentially the first co-op game that did it right, that created a specific custom story just for the co-op experience. It's widely regarded as a really good title, and I feel it's going to not have a challenge.
I agree. Portal 2 is going to win. So moving on. Fallout 3 versus Mass Effect 3. I think Fallout 3 wins this pretty easily. What do you think, Sonic?
Fallout 3 is going to win. Even though they both share 3, it's in the opposite spectrums of being good and bad. Fallout.
Yeah, now that people know who Mass Effect 3's opponent is, I think that's all it's going to take. Fallout 3 wins very easy.
And Final Fantasy 8 versus Super Mario World. Dabu, thoughts?
I think Mario World is just it and Mario 3 are just solid platformers. They're held in really high regard. Final Fantasy 8, I mean, it's a Final Fantasy game. It's popular, but it has a lot of unusual characteristics to it. It has that whole junction system. Leveling, the way to leveling up is kind of weird, and I don't think it's held up that well. And I just think it's not as popular as some of the other Final Fantasy titles. And I just don't think it's going to be on Mario World's level. So I think Mario World's going to win this.
I agree that Final Fantasy VIII is not as appreciated as the other Final Fantasy titles, and I think that's ultimately what's going to decide the fact that Super Mario World will surpass it. Because there's no arguments against Super Mario World, however, there are some criticisms against Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, Super Mario World is the Super Nintendo platform game for the Super Nintendo. Like, I don't think of any game that beats it. So I'm gonna go Super Mario World 2. Takes us to Super Mario Brothers 3 versus Portal 2. Sonic, what do you think?
Super Mario Bros. 3 will be Portal 2. It has very little flaws, and the only competition it really has is Super Mario World.
I agree with Sonic on this one.
Yeah,
Mario 3.
3 is gonna win. Fallout 3 versus Super Mario World. I think World wins this as well. What do you guys think? What about you, Dub?
I think Mario World wins this for the same reason. I think this division is the Mario division. It's meant for Mario 3 World to move on. I think the only thing that could possibly compete with either of them is the Pokemon title. And I think Mario's just a little bit above both of those. So it's Mario 3 and Mario World that are going to go to the end of the division.
I agree. Mario World will beat Fallout 3.
Yeah, and this is the matchup I expected when I first saw this division. 3 versus World. You can make a ton of arguments for either game. We're going to start with you, Sonic.
So, I went with Mario World beating Super Mario Bros. 3. They both don't have any faults in the title at all. I can't view a single fault with both titles. They're both pristine. But in the grand scheme of things, I think the majority of the users will feel they'll appreciate Super Mario World a little more than Super Mario Bros. 3. It's hard. It's a really hard matchup, but I think World is going to come out ahead, just barely though.
I also agree. I think it's going to be a super close match, but I think people just have a little bit more nostalgia for Mario World, especially the age demographic of the website. I mean, I think it's the game that people really played and connected to. Mario 3 is also a fantastic game. I think they're both fantastic. In fact, I actually think Mario 3 is actually a slightly better game, but I think Mario World is going to win.
I think 3 is the better game. You have so many diverse worlds. You have those like card levels, the little mini game levels. I think 3 is superior. So I have that winning, but I could also see World winning, so we'll go with World. Since you guys
Like, neither result would surprise me, honestly. Like, they're both fantastic games. I could see either of them win.
But
I just think that people will vote for World.
I don't think people will appreciate 3 as much because everyone flutes across 90% of the world, so they don't actually play it through entirely to fully appreciate it clearly to this day. Because if I told you what was World 6, what was the theme in World 6 in Super Mario Bros. 3, not many people would be able to guess it right off the bat. Simply because it's skipped. It's skipped so often that I don't think people appreciated the world design in 3, or remember to appreciate it rather.
Wasn't World 6 the world?
I just want to clarify that world champions don't use warp whistles. Just a point.
I'm just saying the majority of the demographic that's going to be voting for this are the people that don't remember how you know how detailed and like fun the level design of Mario 3 is.
No,
I
Mario
agree
3 is
that
fantastic.
I agree it's the better game, but I'm going to go with Mario World as actually beating it.
Wasn't World 6 the world?
I also thought Mario World was a little too easy, personally. I think Mario 3 is a harder game.
Wasn't World 6 the world where you climb the tower to go to the ice world? Am I right?
Yeah, the Sky one. What isn't?
Sky
it's
is 5. Sky is... It goes grass, desert, water, then giant island, then the sky one, then ice, then the pipe maze, and then the dark
Yeah, I'm right. Okay, cool. So, Division 3 is going to be won by Super Mario World. I think it'd be cool if Super Mario Brothers 3 won Division 3, but guess you guys aren't for that. So, Division 4 actually has a ton of really interesting matchups in my opinion. So, we're going to start from Skyrim versus Phoenix Wright, which I think Skyrim will win pretty easily. What do you think, Dabu?
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix Wright has its fans, but Skyrim is just a mainstream title, and way more people play it.
like yourself.
I mean, I love Phoenix Wright. Objection.
Skyrim is going to shit on Phoenix Wright. It's going to take a giant shit on Phoenix Wright. That's how confident I am.
This is I'm going to say Skyrim's going to win, but this is the only match it's going to win this tournament. So we're going to go down to GoldenEye 007 versus Diablo 2. GoldenEye 007, one of the classic FPS games, and Diablo 2, one of the classic Blizzard games. GoldenEye 007 wins, but they're both really good games. What do you think, Dabu?
I think this is a really interesting match. I feel like GoldenEye probably is going to take this, but I'm not super confident about it. I think GoldenEye is still popular. It's sped run and everything. People speed run it regularly. And it's just somewhat competitive. While Diablo 2, I mean, Diablo 2 is still played by quite a few people, but I think it's sort of died off these days. But I think people have a lot of really fond memories of Diablo 2, but they also have fond memories of GoldenEye, because for a lot of people, it's the first sort of FPS game they play. I think Diablo 2 is a much better game, personally, but I think GoldenEye is going to win this.
I think GoldenEye will beat Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is a really great game, however, the majority of the users will appreciate GoldenEye over Diablo 2.
Yeah, GoldenEye, they're both games that you would play with your friends. You know, you could play online with your friends on Diablo 2, or you could play 4-player split-screen multiplayer on GoldenEye. It's a shame that they had to face each other in the first matchup, and it's a shame that GoldenEye is an 8 seed. It should really be like a 3 seed or a 2 seed, but whatever. Metroid Prime versus Morrowind. Sonic, thoughts?
Well, I think Morrowind is a really good title, personally. However, it's not going to be appreciated more than Metroid Prime. So Metroid Prime will win by a great margin.
I agree. Elder Scrolls is just not in the same level as Metroid.
I just want to establish this now. Super Metroid is one of the greatest games of all time. But Metroid Prime is the superior Metroid. So just so you know my thoughts going forward, Metroid Prime is going to win this easily. So Half-Life 2...
You gave up a race in Metroid Prime, though.
I beat Metroid
I remember
Prime.
that.
I beat Metroid Prime.
Yeah, no one cares.
No. Half-Life...
After
Wait,
you rage
Sonic, did you
quit
beat Metroid
I
Prime?
mean, I've heard
Race.
so many of your picks in this thing already. You've lost so much credibility. You said something ridiculous earlier. I don't even remember what it was.
Half-Life 2 versus Demon Souls. Dabu, your thoughts?
I think Demon Souls. I don't know. The bracket I made, I picked Demon Souls. But
You
I
drunk
can see
right
the
now?
argument for Half-Life.
Are you kidding me?
Demon Souls is very popular.
I
Well,
think the viewers of GameFAQS are too garbage to even beat Demon Souls. and I'm positive that they've beaten Half-Life 2, so they're going to vote for Half-Life 2.
Okay, so
Straight up insulting to me.
Dabu, you have Demon Souls, and Sonic, you have Half-Life 2. Am I correct there?
Yes, I have Half-Life 2.
Dabu, do you have Demon Souls winning this? Can you confirm? You said you have it in your
Yes, I do.
bracket. Okay, Demon Souls it started the whole Souls thing. That's a
Yeah,
very
Dark Souls is like so popular now, but I just
yeah,
think it's more
Dark
recent than
Souls
Half-Life.
Dark Souls into Dark Souls 2 into Bloodborne. It's a very successful franchise. They have Demon Souls 3 or Dark Souls 3 coming out in the near future. Those are really good games. They're really hard, but that's what makes them fun. So no disrespect there, but it's freaking Half-Life 2. Like, are you kidding me right now? You're gonna pick Demon Souls to beat freaking Half-Life 2? The game that makes people want Half-Life 3? Like Half-Life 3 is like still like the thing everybody wants. Half-Life 2 is gonna win easily. So that's a
Yeah,
discussion.
well, we'll
QED.
see.
On a
History will
personal
prove me
note, I don't even like Half-Life 2. I think it was a pretty bad game, and I would personally love it if Demon Souls won, but Demon Souls will not win.
Super Mario 64 versus Mario Kart 8. Anybody think Mario Kart is gonna win? No. Nobody thinks that.
No.
Okay. 64 wins. Final Fantasy Tactics versus Resident Evil 2. Sonic, thoughts?
Tactics is very well loved, and it's also actually appreciated by a lot of people. I think Tactics will win.
Blame yourself for God. Tactics win.
Final Fantasy beats Resident Evil. Tactics wins. Twilight Princess versus Skies of Arcadia. Dabu, what do you think?
I don't think enough people have played or owned a Dreamcast for Skies of Arcadia to be Zelda mainstream title. Actually, I think Skies of Arcadia was re-released on
Yes, on
GameCube.
PC.
Okay, but even so, I don't think it's on any Zeldas. Twilight Princess should win this race.
Yeah, Skies, not a lot of people know about it. It was a good game, but not a lot of people had access to it.
Twilight Princess is another Zelda game similar to Wind Waker where it's hated by a lot of people. Personally, I think it's one of the best Zeldas, so I'm going with it. So we're going to move on to Persona 4 versus 999. Personally, I think 999 is the maximum amount of votes that game's going to get. Persona 4 wins easily. What do you think, Dabu?
Yeah, Persona 4 is going to win. I think it'll get more than 999 votes, but not a lot.
I love
Sonic-
999, but
Sonic said one
Persona
game-
4.
Sonic said one game was
I
going to
said
get
one-
5 votes.
I said it would not get
I'm
a
giving,
single vote.
I'm giving it more respect than that.
I think 999 was a really good game myself. I love playing it. I love playing it more than I did Persona 4. But Persona 4 is going to flat out win this battle.
Back up to Skyrim.
By the way, I think Division 4 should be the last division we'll do. And then we'll do the other halves.
We're doing Division. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. So back up to Skyrim versus GoldenEye
This is
007.
taking
Let's start with you, Sonic.
Full thing taken so long. Division what?
We're gonna finish up this division and then do the rest the next another time. So Skyrim versus 007. Who do you have winning that?
I think 007 will beat Skyrim. Skyrim's adventure is done at this point.
Yeah, Skyrim may be a 1 seed, but you can't always trust seeds. I think GoldenEye is just more popular with users. People have a lot of fond memories of it, even if it's not really as much of a playable game anymore. People have so many memories of like the 4-player matches or getting the invincibility code. And Skyrim, while it's more recent, I just don't think it has the lasting impression on voters for it to be GoldenEye.
GoldenEye wins this one. GoldenEye is that good of a game, and I mean, I have a lot of memories of it as a kid, so I don't think it has.
It's actually not that good of a game if you go back and play it today.
But we talk about
Oh.
games when they came out. It was revolutionary for when it came out. I mean, like in the
No, of course it was.
You like throwing that word revolutionary quite off.
it was pretty revolutionary. So we're down to Metroid Prime versus Half-Life 2. Dabu, what do you think? Can you name the
I think Metroid Prime's gonna beat Demon Souls.
Can you name the main character of Half-Life 2?
Gordon.
Gordon Versetti.
Sonic. He said Half-Life, or he said Half-Life 2. What do you think, Sonic? Or wait, no,
Half-Life
sorry.
2 is
He said
going to be-
Metroid Prime.
I said Metroid Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, Metroid Prime is a classic.
Classic piece of shit.
Metroid Prime's a fantastic game.
You can't compete with Half-Life 2.
It already beat Half-Life 2 on this website 5 years ago. Just so you know.
That was 5 years ago.
Oh, so Half-Life 2's gotten more popular in the past 5 years?
Yes. In my opinion, it has.
I mean, I realize Steam's gotten more popular, but I don't think that means Half-Life 2's gotten more popular.
I think it's appreciated a lot more than it was appreciated 5 years ago.
It's not even that good of a game.
Didn't you just say
honestly.
Half-Life 2 was bad?
I don't think it's a good game, personally, but I think it's going to be appreciated more than Metro Prime.
Okay, let's set the record straight here. Metroid Prime is the best Metroid. It's winning. QED. Super Mario 64 versus
You're up.
Final Fantasy Tactics. I think 64 wins this pretty easily. Well, I wouldn't say easily because it's a Final Fantasy game, but I think it does win. What do you
I think it wins easily. I'll go on record saying that.
I think it will easily win.
And it takes us down to Twilight Princess versus Persona 4. Sonic, you start.
We're not even giving commentary anymore. We're just saying it easily. Yeah.
Well, because these
Yeah.
matchups, I mean, we've been giving commentary on some of them, but I don't know how Final Fantasy Tactics can compare to
I mean, we
64.
disagreed on something. We should have had a huge debate about it, but we're not going to.
Well, how are we going to talk about Prime and Half-Life 2? Like, you haven't even
Well,
played
because we could
Half-Life
look
2.
at the last match where it actually happened and see that Metroid Prime won.
But that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, grabbing statistics from 5 years ago is kind of questionable. And I have Prime winning,
It
but
was 5 years ago. You don't go off fucking records of 5 years. 5 years ago, we were playing StarCraft Brutal.
so Twilight Princess versus
No, we
Persona
weren't.
4.
StarCraft 2 had come out already.
No one played StarCraft 2, though. No one still plays.
It is pretty interesting how Brood War is in this competition, but StarCraft 2 isn't. Just wanted to add that. So Twilight Princess versus Persona 4.
No, I think it's just the original StarCraft, not including
No,
Brood War.
they don't take Brood War into
Yeah, I think
consideration.
that's what they're talking about.
I need
I
to
think they're
change
talking
my
about
votes
Vanilla.
then. So like we're ignoring the entire pro scene then if we don't have Brood War.
Well, Vanilla was great.
But it doesn't have a pro scene. It's just vanilla. Okay, Twilight Princess versus Persona
Vanilla's
4. Sonic, what do you think?
We
Okay,
need to
okay.
stop, like, right here. We need to stop finishing up some other time.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up
'Cause
this
it's
division.
we stopped doing, like, commentary.
We're gonna wrap up
Valid
this division.
commentaries.
We're gonna wrap up this division.
Everything is revolutionary, bro. Alright, what do we wrap it up? Who's the matchup?
Twilight Princess versus Persona 4. Who do you think's gonna win?
This is a waste
Twilight
of both of our time.
Princess is going to beat Persona 4 simply because it's more widely known than Persona 4, and Persona 4 isn't the best Persona. Persona 3 was.
8.8 is not low enough to not be able to beat Persona. It wins. Alright, let's talk about GoldenEye versus Metroid.
I don't know if I'd say easily, but I think Twilight Princess does win.
I would. Okay, go on.
You in a hurry? GoldenEye 007 versus Metroid Prime. The best... well, whatever. So, Dabu, what do you think?
I think Metroid Prime wins. I think this will be highly debated, but I think Metroid Prime wins this. It's more recent. It's a much better game.
What?
Metroid is very well loved.
Much better game than GoldenEye 007?
Yeah, I said.
We need to
We can't take this guy seriously.
Fucking
He's gone off the deep end.
one guy's arguing Vice City was revolution over A. The other guy is basing his fucking data on 5 years ago.
Didn't you just say Half-Life 2 was a bad game?
I don't like it. 5-year-old data is even worse.
Alright, who do you think's gonna win between Prime and GoldenEye?
I think GoldenEye's gonna beat Prime.
No, I know Dabbit voted Prime. I wanted to see Sonic's thoughts. They're both good games.
GoldenEye will beat Prime. It's more beloved than Prime was.
Yeah, they're both good games, but you gotta remember, like, GoldenEye was a game that you could chill on the couch, play with your friends, like in high school or middle school or elementary school, whatever. The cheat code thing that you brought up earlier, people, like, remember doing that. And Metroid Prime...
Yeah, Metroid was a solo game experience where you were a loner and had no friends. Because no one wanted to play
Metroid
with
Prime
you.
2 Echoes, it had a multiplayer mode.
Spoilers, please.
And you would never find a single person to play that piece of shit with you because you
Metroid
had
Dude,
no
we played it in
friends.
my dorm.
Because you had no friends. You had to wait until college to get someone to play with you.
Okay, Metroid Prime, like...
Came out while I was in college.
Don't get me wrong, it was a really good game. Like, it's my favorite Metroid game, but I just don't think it beats GoldenEye. I don't think it has the nostalgia factor. I don't think it even beats it in terms of gameplay. So I'm gonna go with GoldenEye. That beats Metroid Prime 2-1. Super Mario 64 versus Twilight Princess. That's a tough
Twilight
one.
Princess got an 8.8. Mario 64 is worth 9.9. Mario 64, I look forward to getting all 120 stars. Twilight Princess, no one wants to play for that game. So. Mario 64.
I've never even beaten Twilight Princess, even though I like it. Mario 64 will win.
Yeah, I mean, I love Twilight Princess. It's probably my second favorite Zelda game, but I don't think it beats 64. So two Nintendo 64 games are gonna end up being the finalists in this division. Are they the only two 64 games?
I have Metroid Prime beating Mario 64 in my bracket.
I think that yeah, but your bracket doesn't matter. We're talking about this specific bracket. So
No, I know.
Are
Okay,
these
so
the-
versus Mario 64 versus GoldenEye. Oh, go ahead if you have things you want to say.
well, I was just gonna say these are the only two Nintendo 64 games in here in this bracket. So that's kind of funny how they ended up the finalists in our division. I don't know if that's kind of a
Yeah, where's Star Fox?
I don't know. Is Star Fox 64 in this? I don't even remember seeing it.
No, it's not.
No.
That's sad. But I'm just talking about this division.
I mean, the 64 game that's gonna win is Ocarina, but
right. I don't think
between
anybody
these
disputes
two,
that.
GoldenEye and Mario 64, I think Mario 64 is just, it's more respected, it's more loved, people have better memories of it. GoldenEye is like that multiplayer game you played, and yeah, it was really popular, but Mario 64 was like the first 3D game a lot of people played. When you got the Nintendo 64 Christmas morning and you're running around 3 dimensions, it blew you away, and I think that those memories are just staying with a lot of people. It's also revolutionary, if that counts for anything.
Fucking revolutionary.
So we have one vote for Mario 64. What do you think, Sonic?
You know I'm gonna vote for Mario 64. There's no question about it.
See, GoldenEye was really the first. It brought multiplayer to a completely new level.
Okay, before your discussion, just toss. Do you have GoldenEye advancing?
GoldenEye brought multiplayer to a completely new level.
Shut the
It had all the
fuck up.
characters.
If you have Mario 64 lose to GoldenEye, I'm gonna kick you off this bed.
It had all the characters and stuff from the previous spawns, but 64 is still played at speedrunning conventions and stuff.
Oh,
It's
thank Christ.
Probably considered.
They're
You
both
gotta let me
played.
talk.
That's speedrunning.
Right, but 007. Who speedruns 007? Nobody knows. Who the heck is our white goose?
What?
Our white goose?
What
But-
goose?
But
You
they
guys are
always.
bots on his channel.
But they always end it with 64. 64 is the game that ends the speedrunning convention.
You
Like,
know what?
people
I'm
wait
gonna
for it.
go to his channel
They
and
hit it with Final
spam the link
Fantasy.
to the poll
Okay, let's wrap this
every
up.
time he has a match.
64 like is the game. Like it's when you think of Nintendo 64, you think of Mario 64. So and
You think of Ocarina of Time, actually.
yeah,
but,
well, it doesn't have 64 in the title. So you probably think of 64. I mean, didn't they package the Nintendo 64 with 64 like initially? I don't know. It was one of the first games out. So I agree. 64
yeah, it
is
and
gonna
Pilot
win.
Wings, which no one. Yeah. So yeah, Mario 64 will win against him.
So our first four division winners are Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VII, Super Mario World, and Super Mario 64. Pretty solid group there. And we are actually going to
Yep.
end this. We've picked 60 of the 127 fights. We're going to end this right now, and we'll pick this up.
We hope our insightful commentary will encourage you to come back for a second half. And then the third day, we're going to cover the final 8 matches. Or, sorry, final 7 matches with the final 8 titles. And that'll be really exciting. You're going to want to know what matches to pick in your bracket. Sonic and I will give you very insightful commentary on that. Shocks will say a few like random crap things. Overall, I think you'll get a lot.
At least it was revolutionary.
Well, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our commentary, especially mine, because it was more insightful than theirs. And
You fucking voted for Vice City.
have you ever played Vice City? It's it was.
Guy is San Andreas going to like the final 4 of his bracket.
Have you ever name the main character of San Andreas? Name the main character of San Andreas. Anyway,
It's like Carl Johnson or something.
thank you. You can speak with that. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.